To this Monday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal, McCready, Clark Ford Studio here on this Monday afternoon. A little later than usual because Keith Carter was on the Lane Kiffin Media Monday Zoom extravaganza, whatever you want to call it. So we'll go through what Lane said, what Keith said, and obviously the news of the day. Ole Miss and Texas A&M will not happen this weekend as originally scheduled.
Or ever.
Potentially not as well. So we'll discuss that and more on the show. Got a lot of stuff today. Might not get to all of it. It might be one of those things where it goes into Tuesday a little bit because LSU's got more scandal going on in Baton Rouge. That's down the list a little bit. You've got Lions NCAA tournament potentially being played in a bubble prior to a certain round or two. So plenty of stuff today on the docket here with you guys. Appreciate everybody in the live stream. People still coming in on a show that's brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. Speed Pass Plus app, get it, use it, take advantage of it because you get points. It turns into kind of some free stuff, also very efficient to pay right there at the pump. You can pay on your phone, get on with your day, courtesy of all Blue Sky locations in Mississippi, including the Oxford Exxon. Also, lunch specials, $5.69, two sides bread, 32-ounce drinks, and more. So take advantage of that as well. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. 662-257-1900 is that number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do, and that's hop into a Clark Ford today. You will love the product. You'll love the service. And you'll love everything about Clark Ford. They want to be your truck guy. They want to be your car guy. They'll prove it to you when you make the call. 662-257-1900. Guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. I've already lined up one guest for later this week. Did it at the time when I thought there was a chance that Ole Miss would be playing Texas A&M.
It's a little different all of a sudden now, isn't it?
A little bit of a scramble, but I'll figure it out. Anyway, guest, join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. Ole Miss won't be playing on Saturday, but there will be games, a few of them at least, somewhere, perhaps, maybe, and you can watch them at Rafters Music and Food. They'll have NFL games on Sunday as well, so it'll be a fun time to hang out, enjoy some of their drink specials, burgers, po' boys, all of that at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford. And I'll get this knocked out of the way now because I want to make sure that you know because you're running out of time. You got about 10 and a half hours to take advantage of the Dead Soxy special. Dead Soxy was crazy enough to put a percent number on their sale. However many points Ole Miss scored against South Carolina, that was the percentage off that you'd get at Dead Soxy.
And that turned into what you expected that to turn into.
Ole Miss scored 59 points, which means, according to my ULM math, that you get 59% off at deadsoxy.com, DEADSOXY.com, promo code Rebel Grove, 59% off. The best socks you'll ever put on your feet. I've got some on right now. They're great. I love them. You'll love yours too. So if you've never tried them and you're like, I don't know, man, I don't know about socks, now would be a really good time to jump in and give them a shot. And if you have tried them and you like some, now would be a great time to take advantage of them and stock up. They said they've had great reception, so they're honoring this deal. I'm sure that they kept watching the score roll up and thought, whoa. But anyway, load up on socks, get them in time for the holidays, be a great stocking stuffer, or just go ahead and complete your wardrobe. Deadsoxy.com, promo code Rebel Grove, 59% off.
Yeah, we kept watching because we got into the post game for a second, and I was like, "Hey, wasn't there like a Dead Soxy thing?" Or like, "Oh yeah, that is a thing." 59 points there, or 59% off for Dead Soxy. So yeah. Anyway, Ole Miss and A&M, obvious news of the day. Rebels and Aggies will not play in College Station this weekend. Texas A&M still dealing with contact tracing issues. Keith Carter said that a lot of the Aggie players come out of contact tracing quarantine the day after the day of the scheduled game.
And then you have to have an acclimation. It's very important to acclimate.
I'm getting that question a lot. Why can't they just play on Sunday? The answer is that you still are not eligible to play in the game. That I guess you can be at practice, but there's an acclimation period involved with that. It is why Keith said Trevor Lawrence could travel with Clemson, be around the sidelines with Clemson, basically be another coach, but not go out on the field and participate in the game.
Is Trevor okay? Is he doing okay?
As far as I'm aware, he's okay. Yes.
To your knowledge,
to my knowledge,
he's all right.
He's all right. I have not heard of anything different.
God dang, it's such a relief. Because I was worried.
The acclimation period was very good to him. That's why he's okay. And now they're moving on with
if he played without it, it would have been bad.
We don't know that. We have no way to know.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I mean, you can't predict.
Well, it's interesting because the NFL players don't have an acclimation period.
Yeah, I actually was not even I was not aware of that as even being a thing for contact tracing at all.
All right, listen, you guys in the stream, if you're going to do pronouns, I understand you're not on the air. I have to do this with my kids sometimes. The Daily Journal is reporting that what will be happening. Because I was just on the teleconference here in the last hour, and no one said anything may be happening. Look,
I think the Daily Journal wrote a story saying if it were to happen, here's how it would happen.
Okay.
Which is not the same.
Okay.
Ole Miss will only play a game this weekend against someone if that someone is Mississippi State or LSU, and it's the opponents that those two teams have having COVID issues. If those four teams are healthy, being State and Georgia, is that right?
Yeah, it would really be the opponents.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It would have to be either Arkansas would have to get a COVID issue,
or Georgia would have to
have a COVID issue. And to my knowledge, as of midday today,
I have not heard of anything with either program.
Neither one has anything resembling a COVID issue.
And it would have to happen by 8 o'clock tonight.
Yes.
So the odds are not good that Ole Miss plays a football game.
No, and Keith,
but that's what
Keith said as much. He said, at one point he said, "Stay tuned," but I think people are trying to. The Egg Bowl's not happening this weekend in all likelihood.
Barring one of those two things in the next 7 hours, unless they change some rules.
Well, it'd be one of things for the.
One of those two programs.
Yeah,
what I meant.
For the Egg Bowl to happen this weekend, it would have to be Georgia having a COVID problem.
Yeah.
For the LSU game to happen this weekend, it would have to be Arkansas having a COVID problem, and it would have to be revealed that they're having the COVID problem by 8 o'clock tonight.
That is correct. Yes.
I mean, if you like that, then I mean, there's some money lines you can.
Look, crazier things have happened. Who knows? But as of now, Ole Miss not playing a game.
It's unlikely.
My question to you, because as of now, and they're not even setting the game on the schedule because technically A&M is alive for the SEC West. December 19th is a possibility for a date. Tennessee is playing Texas A&M on the 12th. Ole Miss currently does not have a game scheduled for the 19th. What leads you to believe the 19th is not a possibility for Ole Miss and A&M?
Now, this could change, but as of early today, my very educated opinion would tell you, and I asked Keith about this, and he said, a lot of things are on the table, which told me that including this is on the table, because I think this is not only on the table, I think this is the turkey in the middle of the Thanksgiving table, okay?
Sure, yeah.
CBS wants the LSU-Alabama game. It wants it. It's a centerpiece game, and they want it. And I'm fairly sure that as of this morning, the plan was to move LSU Alabama to December the 5th.
Okay.
Which would move Ole Miss LSU to December the 19th. Now, in fairness to other people, I can tell you I talked to people at Texas A&M today who they're hoping that the Ole Miss Texas A&M game can be on December the 19th. It will be difficult for Ole Miss to play a game in College Station and Baton Rouge on the same day.
But what you're saying is that there's at least the potential, the way the rules go, for Ole Miss and A&M to sacrifice a game to benefit Alabama and LSU. Or not even necessarily to benefit.
Not even to benefit, just
to benefit CBS.
Yeah. Look, before people say the league's doing this or the league's doing that, the league wants everybody to play. The league wants 70 games played. They want the full complement because if you don't play, you don't get paid. I confirmed that with Keith Carter today. So if you play 9 games, you lose 1/10 of your TV money.
Mm-hmm.
If you play 8 games, you lose 1/5 of your TV money. And the reason I'm not confident at all about Mississippi State and Ole Miss playing this weekend, even if Georgia had an issue, is because, frankly, I think that game is in some degree of jeopardy because of Mississippi State.
Yeah, it feels like if there's a problem, it's on the state side, not the Georgia side. Best I can tell, at least. It is what it is right now. That's what it is.
Look, and this is something, we talked about this a little bit last week, and I asked Keith about it a little while ago, and I'll write in a little bit. There was just no way to get all that transcribed and written before we started this podcast. So when we get done with the podcast, I'll sit down and write. As long as these contact tracing rules are what they are, as long as these protocols are what they are, this is going to be really difficult to finish this season. It's going to be really difficult to complete a bowl season. And, man, I don't know how you do a basketball season like this.
No, the basketball season, given the current stipulations and rules, makes very little sense, I'll just be honest. Like, I don't understand how you ever get through it. Keith talked about it today from the standpoint of, hey, these guys are closer together than a football team is from a meeting standpoint. There are only 15 players, too. So if you get any contact tracing to speak of at all, hey, there are no point guards. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff there that you've got issues.
Yeah, you have a whole roster.
Yeah.
In football, you can meet, hey, the DBs meet in this room, and in a completely different room the linebackers are, and the defensive tackle, defensive linemen, and all the different deals. It's conceivable that over the course of a week, the defensive backs and the offensive linemen never have social tracing.
Mm-hmm.
In basketball, that's kind of hard to do. You don't have – you have a front court meeting and a back court meeting, but in practice, it's a confined space, and you're around each other. I just think this is – the way that we have these rules set up don't work. They don't work. And so it doesn't work. If you're going to be this strict about it, 14 days and then a 5-day acclimation period, well, if a team gets a couple of positive cases, you're out 3 weeks. Well, 3 weeks could be 7, 8 games. There's no place to make those games up at the end of the season.
Well, and also, Keith, he was pretty frustrated today. He talked about that they're trying to do some things in the league. They're trying to look at where they can change some contact tracing things, but their hands are a lot tied because a lot of it's just state law. So there's very little.
I know.
There's very little wiggle room they have to change the way this process is played out.
It's why the schools are all shutting down right now. My son's home from middle school today on a perfectly normal day that he should be at school, and I'd like to throw things at people. There are people in Jackson that very clearly have no understanding of how this works. No practical sense at all. None.
Trying to even think. Lane, he did not bite on any A&M stuff today. He minded his manners as far as anything related to COVID today.
He did. It's got to be frustrating, though, when you are one of the 3 programs in the – well, 4, because Alabama's not had an issue because I think they have herd immunity. When you're one of the programs that's done it the right way, and all of a sudden, here you are. It's conceivable that Ole Miss doesn't play another game till December the 19th.
Against someone.
Yeah.
Yes, in theory, Ole Miss could lose 1/10 of its TV money to benefit CBS. Yes, that is correct. Brass tacks, pragmatically, yes.
The word benefit is not the right word. I'm trying to think. You got to move games. Look, CBS foots a big part of the bill. They pay a big contract. That's how this works. The reason the season's being played in general is for the TV money. So it matters. Yeah, they want that game. In fairness, if you were CBS, wouldn't you want that game?
Yeah, no, I'm not debating. I'm just saying you are losing extra games to get that game, though. That is technically a truth. I guess that's my point.
Technically.
Yeah.
But, if you're not going to be any more flexible than they're being, kind of is what it is.
I guess my point is, and whatever. This is kind of just a podcast topic as much as anything. But you would think there would be some stipulations in there for leagues to cover schools' revenue.
And they might be.
Should that be the case where you're losing because of a scheduling change with other programs?
I have a suspicion that in the end, everybody will take a 1/14th hit.
Oh, well, probably so, yeah.
I have a feeling that would be the easiest way to adjudicate that.
Tell everybody, hey, we're just going to.
Yeah, we're not going to do the blame game on this. We're just going to let it be.
Well, Ed said today he'll play Alabama whenever they want to. They tell him to play the game.
Yeah,
he said
he's so full of shit.
Ed said, "Look, I know
Pardon me,
people
I'm
are
sorry.
talking, but I'll cut whatever.
Oh, stop.
Wherever. What was the former coach at Fresno State? Pat Hill. He said anybody, anywhere. That's what Ed said about Alabama today.
Well, I would imagine Nick's response to that was, "Okay, we'll be in Baton Rouge tomorrow."
Yeah.
We can be there now if you want us to. I mean, we'll go ahead and pack up.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. LSU has become, to have been on top of the college football and really NCAA world less than a year ago,
Yeah.
certifiable train wreck in every direction right now.
Mm-hmm. But they're having to arrange around Alabama and presumably Florida because those two teams are going to play
occupied on the 19th.
Unless they move the championship game back.
I just don't see it happening.
I don't either.
I got to ask this, and I don't know the answer, so just let this be what it is. I'm just noticing it here. Hold on. Make sure I have this right before I even say it. But
Something going on?
No, nothing major. It's just a question people keep asking, and I want to make sure I have this correct.
While you're looking that up, William says, why not push the season back so we can get all the games in? I guess they could, but if you push it back 1 week, you're talking about the day after Christmas.
They're not, because they want the ample amount of time before the playoff.
Right.
The playoff is what is creating.
Because the first round of the playoff of the four is January 1.
Yes, that's correct.
So you wouldn't,
that is a very valuable time slot for TV.
And so you wouldn't even have a 6-day window to. If you were Alabama, for example, you play a SEC championship game on December the 26th, then turn around 6 days later and play a playoff game. Probably nobody would go for that.
Okay. I don't know the date. I'm not sure they've actually even set a date for this. Should it happen, the Las Vegas Bowl is an SEC tie-in. That was where I was going with this.
Okay.
It's a late December bowl game. I have no idea if you played on the 19th that would impact your ability to play in that game. That's all, very minimal footnote here, just pointing that out because I keep getting asked that question. I don't know. I have no idea. Traditionally, that game is played December 21st, 22nd, 23rd, somewhere in there.
You want me to find it?
Well, they haven't announced a date. They are being flexible. It just says December 2020. That was
gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. But they're an SEC tie-in this time. So, although look, the tie-ins even count the same way. I have no freaking idea.
I don't know.
That's a question for a whole another day.
I haven't gotten that far.
Keith said if they get invited to a bowl, they'll go. He said that today. And duh. Yeah, of course. I just don't know what bowls are. I know they all say they're going to happen, and maybe they are. Or not all of them, but a lot. I do wonder how many brass tacks end up doing it if they can't get enough people in the stands to justify the expense when it gets down to it.
I know ESPN really wants them for programming,
sure,
and ESPN owns a lot of them, and so maybe that's how it just kind of works.
Yeah. But you're talking about big negatives from a financial standpoint.
You are. You're talking about big negatives and just the whole thing.
Yeah. You think Ole Miss plays next week?
I'll be optimistic and say yes.
Okay.
But it's close.
It all feels very in flux right now. Because it is very in flux right now.
Yeah, I'll guess that, yes, the Egg Bowl gets played next Saturday at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, 3 o'clock, by the way.
Yeah.
Time for the Egg Bowl. You need to.
But I wouldn't want to put that – I wouldn't bet my life on it. Not sure I'd bet that picture up there on it. I'm not sure I'd bet this Oklahoma City plastic cup on it.
Well, you'd probably give that away. If you lost, it's really a big –
That's true.
Big negative. It's really just making you remember a only cup.
Thabo Cephalosha and Nick Collison.
There's a cup for you. Make sure we get that souvenir cup to take home today.
Those were the good old days.
Good grief. How do they pick that? Does it rotate throughout the year?
I don't know. That was from years ago.
Is that what Sprite wanted on the cup?
I guess so. Years and years ago.
Okay. Oh, Lord. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford,
2013.
Memphis, DeSoto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting and understands your market, a leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com. Why do you still have a stadium cup from 2013? You haven't, thrown some out or replaced or done something in 7 years?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I guess I really hadn't thought about it.
Just curious.
I guess it tells you that – I don't know what it tells you. It's a good question. I don't know. Kind of pathetic, isn't it, that I'm still hanging on to a 7-year-old stadium cup?
Very important to you at the time.
I guess that would have been Carson and I went? I don't know. I think that's right. We went to a couple of games, including one where they played I guess they were the Bobcats at the time.
Okay.
The team from Charlotte, whoever the hell that was called at the time.
The Bobcats or the Hornets or whatever they were.
Yeah, whichever one. And it was so cold. We had to walk from Chesapeake back to our hotel, and the wind was literally knocking you down. And he got behind me, and I said, just watch my feet and get in. He got inside my jacket so that his face would, yeah. And we shuffled all the way to the hotel. Man, it was cold. It took me a good hour at least to thaw out. It was cold. It's fun though. All right, yeah, with fall upon us, now's a great time to start preparing for colder weather. Speaking of, no one wants to come home, find out their heating system isn't working. Our friends over at Comer Heating and Air have you covered. Comer Heating and Air is the name you can trust, brings more than 50 years of professional HVAC experience to Oxford, Tupelo, and the surrounding area. Comer Heating and Air is offering a special fall preventative maintenance agreement to make sure your heating system is running in tip-top shape. So call Comer Heating and Air, 662-801-1777 for all your heating and cooling needs. It's hard to believe, but it's true. Christmas right around the corner. Holiday gifting always involves a last-minute scramble, but this year the folks over at Blue Delta Jeans are here to make sure it does not have to be that way. Simply visit their site, bluedeltajeans.com, or visit the Oxford studio, or contact them at info at bluedeltajeans.com to purchase a gift card and give your loved ones the gift of custom Mississippi-made jeans for the holidays. Also, don't forget that Blue Delta Jeans would love to be part of your holiday gifting at work. No matter the number of people in your company, give Blue Delta a call to inquire about bringing Blue Delta Jeans to your office for the best holiday gift there is. That's bluedeltajeans.com. Told you about Dead Soxy, 59% off through midnight tonight, 59% off. We're also brought to you by Jupiter Security Systems. They're based in Madison, Mississippi, and they provide your business with a help desk, allowing you to get software at a much cheaper price than you would pay going directly to Microsoft or the different cybersecurity services. It's basically ADT for your computer systems and data. It's very affordable, flat price, no hidden add-ons. For more information, call Eric at 601-519-9583 or email info@jupitersecurity.net.
So Lane today, let's see, what else he talked about? He was in full recruiting mode on Saturday. Mentioned they still can't do much of anything, but, jerseys and fun and tempo and sidelines and winning and points and all that kind of stuff. It all adds up to what they can do for prospects on television. Said his goal is to play where people watch us and say they want to come play here and move forward. So, anyway, looking through his stuff a little bit, he did point this out, and this is actually a credit to Pro Football Focus. They've mentioned this throughout the year a good bit. He bragged on his tackles, but said the interior of his offensive line has not been up to par so far this season.
That was a real funny answer to a question because it wasn't the answer that was anticipated.
The answer was, our offensive line's really building, getting a lot out of it. Randy's doing a phenomenal job up and down the group, and Lane's like, well, actually, kind of sucks.
I think Lane gets a kick out of me getting a kick out of things.
He pointed you out today that you were laughing. There was one point in the show where Parrish was asking, could you play Tennessee or somebody like that instead of LSU or State, different situation, like the Pac-12 has been doing, and Lane's like, no, but that's a pretty good idea. And he said, Parrish, you ought to be the commissioner. And he goes, would you have fined me? And Parrish gave an answer about now, as long as you're not boring or whatever, and Lane quipped that he'd be finding a lot of the conference as head coaches at this point if that was the case.
And I was it's on mute, so he can't hear me, but he could see me laughing, I guess, because I think the dude's hilarious. He cracks me up, man. His answers sometimes are so dry, and then he does stuff like that, and it just makes me laugh. I
was a little surprised he wasn't asked about Muschamp today.
Yeah, I started to.
But what do you say?
Yeah,
tough deal for a buddy.
Yeah, because they're tight. And here's the thing about Will, and I've said this before: what you see on television is not Will.
He's an intense dude, but
yeah, that's Will Muschamp, the coach. Will Muschamp, the person, is as good as gold, and everybody who knows him cares for him. And I'm sure that, I'm sure Lane wanted to win, and I'm sure Lane was happy that he scored 59 points. I'm sure Lane felt bad for his friend yesterday. Although, let's keep this in perspective before we act like this is the end of the road for Will Muschamp.
He's getting about $13 million,
and he'll get another job somewhere when and if he wants one.
We can get a coordinator gig tomorrow.
Yeah.
He probably does not want a coordinator gig tomorrow.
No, if I were him, I'd take a little time, catch my breath, maybe get in a little bit of shape. He looks a little ragged right now.
He does look kind of
Not
ragged.
A criticism. Maybe go enjoy your family, take a deep breath, see what's out there. And
they've named Mike Bobo the interim head coach, and they've elevated Connor Shaw to an on-field assistant, former quarterback. That is Carolina's moves to get through the season. Yeah, whatever.
I mean,
he will have a whole new staff in place when he gets the gig here in a month or so. Kidding, guys. Kidding.
He's gotten fired at Florida and South Carolina, and his total buyout on those two jobs is just south of $22 million.
So,
yeah.
It's going to be all right to be Will.
Yeah.
I think you're still okay for Boom.
I'd trade.
Tomorrow. Hang on. I get to go home and you're paying me $13 million?
Yeah, if Rivals calls me right now and says, hey, Neal, listen, we're going to move.
It's not going to work out.
We're going to move in another direction. We're going to get that $13.2 million to you within 30 days. Okay. All right. Hey, I love you guys.
I'll send you a Christmas card, actually.
Yeah. I'm good.
You do. That's the thing. It's like, it's going to be hard to fire somebody. It's like, I don't know, maybe not in this situation. The AD's like, look, got to move on, but
well, and I'm sure it was hard.
Yeah,
because I think Ray Tanner really likes Will Muschamp, and the deal there is that their boosters, their money people, the indications that they were getting was that it was not going to be salvageable. It was year 7.
Didn't feel like that, but yeah. It really did not feel like year 7 for Muschamp there. So anyway.
Avery says, island life, here I come. Yeah, no doubt. I would be on an island. What's today? Monday? Oh, by Wednesday. I'd be on an island, and probably for a while.
Yeah, there are worse things than getting fired as an SEC head football coach.
I would be able to come back in 3 months and tell you about 10 different tequilas and mezcals that I discovered. I'd learn
fish and some birds.
I'd learn how to fish a little bit. Yeah, I'd be able to tell you about different rums that I'd experimented with. I'd be able to tell you about that 13-hour nap that I took in the cabana. Yeah, we'd be good.
That one day we're just comatose.
Yeah, and when you said, "Well, did you hear about it?" I'd say, "Nope." You'd say, "I didn't even finish the sentence."
You would get curious about the outside world.
Chase,
you'd get curious. No, but in all seriousness, you'd get curious. I'm not saying you'd check Twitter 8 times a day, but you'd wonder what happened.
Wouldn't be on Twitter.
But you'd wonder what happened.
Not much.
You don't think so?
No. I'm not sure I'd ever care again. If I walked out with $20-something million and I'm set.
You'd check Cub scores. Come on. You can say all that crap. You would check Cub scores.
Maybe every couple of weeks.
Every day.
No. No way.
Every day.
No chance.
You'd know the starting pitcher every day.
No chance. Because I'd break that habit.
Crap.
I'd break that habit.
You might not care as much.
I wouldn't care at all. I don't care as much today as I cared 2 years ago. I mean, there was a big story last week where, hey, the Cubs are going to tear it all down. Everybody's on the market, including Javi Baez, which in my house would lead to a very traumatic experience. Yeah. And I was like, well, whatever.
They'll have some dudes in some uniforms.
Yeah,
they'll play in the spring. Be all right. They've won the division, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, now nobody gave them any shot in hell of actually advancing through the postseason.
And they didn't.
No.
I'm not sure they got a hit. They scored one run. Ian Happ hit a home run. That was it.
Was that really it?
That was it.
Who'd they play?
The Marlins.
Oh, that's right.
And you remember how the Marlins destroyed the Braves because the Marlins were a team on the rise.
That's right. Marlins hired the first ever female GM. By the way, last week. Saw that.
She's highly thought of. She's been on the rise for a while.
She's been with the Yankees, she's been with the Dodgers at least, been with the commissioner's office over the course of her last 15 years or so. Lane did say that he would do his best to get positive.
Oh, we die?
Nah, I don't know how much we lost, but yeah, hold on. We're okay. It'll be what it is.
Had a recorder issue.
Yeah. Everybody just chill out. We don't use the recorder much anymore, and I got a little fooled by the number of files because there were only 3 files on it, but they were all like an hour and 40 minutes. So
yeah, see, that's your job to keep that thing.
Yeah, that was on me. That one's on me. So we lost like 90 seconds.
Okay.
And we're okay. We're going to persevere.
All good.
We're going to get through it, but nonetheless, yeah, about 30 seconds on a loss there.
Okay.
I'm glad I looked down because I just happened to look
too.
down and did not see a red button and went, oh, that's
all they missed was
good.
a little bit of my discussion about how I would live on an island.
Islands and Javi Baez and stuff over the course of the time. So anyway, sorry, we had a recorder issue. If you lost something, our bad. I think you got all the Muschamp discussion. If not, we said we hate it for Will, but he's going to be all right. That was the gist. Lane did say he would get COVID numbers next week to you. We'll see if he does or not. However, he did say that.
I think he liked that question.
Neal said, how many positives have you had in your program since March or June or whenever you've been tracking
June, when they reported. Because
my
follow-up question is, how many have recovered?
And he will. He said he said he was not sure, did not want to speculate, but that he would. He would progress through that and ask somebody and go on from there. He gave a very couple very interesting defensive quotes. Lane not happy with his defense at all on Saturday against the Gamecocks. I keep wanting to act like they play. I did it the other night on the postgame show. I keep wanting to act like they played Arkansas, and I think it's because they ran the freaking ball constantly and they were red, and they have red in their uniforms. For some reason, I just had Ole Miss playing Arkansas all night on Saturday. I almost did it again. But somebody asked him, said, hey, where have you seen improvement since the first game of the season? And not verbatim, but his quote was essentially, a lot of the similarities from the UF game are still around. We're elite on offense. We don't play well on defense. We are where we started off. We made some progress on defense at times, but that was painful to watch, and I didn't even see all the plays because I was talking to some offensive guys. It's like Little League. That should never happen. This is the SEC. Lane Kiffin's quote on that.
Yeah.
There, and then later on, he was asked something else about the defense. I don't have the question. And he said, we look at everything with the defense. Did we do too much? We didn't just miss tackles. We weren't lined up at times. And that's bad because they are a running I formation, I right team. We did that 25 years ago. Not exactly a hard team to line up to.
That was the first time that I took a little criticism of the defensive staff.
Yeah, because line up is staff. That's not players.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it technically could be players, but that's more of a staff issue.
Defensive players continue to say, and I don't know whether it's player speak.
Yeah.
Because sometimes here's the thing, they don't ever say, when you ask a question like, what do you think's going on? They never say, I don't know. Or you're never going to hear players go, we're just not good. They'll say things like, we just got to trust each other. We got to trust the coaches. We're not hearing that on the offensive side, just defensive. I don't know whether that's just a word that gets used or whether that's.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, but line up is an offensive issue. I mean, a defensive issue. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like, you don't really not line up correctly on the offensive side of the ball. Kyle, we'll get the link to you probably I would say by Thursday is a conservative guess. We are currently restocking the store right now after the pre-sale and everybody getting their gear, so we'll get that to you as soon as possible. Yeah, no, it was definitely directed at the defensive staff. It also shows, look, Lane, even in Florida Atlantic in a rebuild, he's not used to this level of, frankly, inept defense. You know what I mean? I mean, he's incredibly, as expected, bothered by what is going on that side of the ball.
Well, it's not satisfactory.
Well, and on the other side, it puts not just, I mean, and I don't mean him because he's an offensive guy. I mean his offense in general. the stress that Matt Corral and Elijah Moore and that offense operates under, knowing that when they get the ball, they have to score, changes a ton about the dynamic of a team. And I don't mean like chemistry. I just mean when you get the ball, there's an extra pressure on you. There's a nervousness. There's a, hey, every play is a huge deal because if we get off schedule, we got to give it back, and then we give up another touchdown, and then we screw up again, and suddenly we're down 21-0, and the game's over. So I do think that it's relevant to the overall tempo of the game in every way when the defense does this. He said a lot of good things about Matt and Elijah, obviously, yesterday. He mentioned Elijah making a lot of money next year.
I've got Lane here if you want to play it.
You want to play it?
It's up to you.
How long is it?
However long it was.
Yeah, we can play it. Then we'll go to a break and come back and keep talking about it.
All right. I got to set
now
up.
You got to have audition up because I can't pick it up on my recorder.
All right.
So this creates another file. Just heads up.
Okay. I'll open up an audition file.
Yeah. Open up audition and then keep audition running the rest of the show.
You got it.
Deal?
Sure.
And then we'll just have 3 files that we interlock in. Tell me when you hit the button, and I'll turn this one off.
Okay. Hold on.
Everybody just chill out.
Setting up a file for people that want the play-by-play. All right, so I'm going to hit the record button here. Then I got to set up an eCam page real fast and throw that in.
Sure.
So that won't take but a second.
Okay.
But we're recording on audition now. Okay. Hang tight, everybody. Getting this to you.
While Neal was doing that, I'll tell you about Visit Oxford. Visit oxfordms.com is the website to see everything going on locally in town this week.
Back to the game.
Every week, obviously, no home football for a week or so, but it might be Ole Miss's next game. We'll have some holiday stuff to you as far as what Oxford is doing here soon. Trade Park, and then a couple more opportunities to visit Santa on the 12th and the 19th, and we'll get more to you there. But again, you can find out where to stay, where to eat, what to do, and see, and more. Visit Oxford, visit oxfordms.com.
Here's Lane Kiffin.
Back to the game, exciting game. I think it was fun for the fans. One of our goals is to, play, so when people watch us, they say, I want to go play there, and have excitement on the sidelines and, tempo offense and jerseys and everything. So I think that was accomplished. I think that went really well. We played about as bad as you can possibly on defense, through whatever 3 quarters. But the last 3 drives, a punt and then 2 4th down stops were huge. So that is the one bright spot on that side. Elijah played great. I mean, I can't remember what it was. I think he had, 14 touches or something at halftime already. Got the ball the first 4 plays of the game. It's crazy to think for a guy that, basically doesn't have any reps back there, except for, what we put in this week, at the bye. He looked like an elite running back, which is really, really unusual. So, pretty neat. He's going to make a lot of money here next year.
Questions for Coach. David starts off.
Hey, Lane, you talk a lot about the skill position players on your offense, and rightfully so. But your perspective on the job that Randy Clements has done with that offensive line this year, they seem to have come together and are playing as good as really anybody right now.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably going to surprise you, with those amount of stats, but the tackles played really well. The 3 inside guys did not play well, especially in the run game. Did all right in the pass game. So sometimes numbers can be skewed a little bit, based off of, other guys making plays. But, our grades were not very good inside, but the tackles were really good.
Parrish, go ahead.
Staying on the offensive line, Lane, what kind of development have you seen there this year?
I think we're really good in pass protection for the most part. We're up and down in the run game, but a lot of those guys played last year, and they ran the ball well, led the SEC in rushing a year ago. So, we're doing some good things, but we can improve there.
How confident are you in your depth? Don't see you subbing a lot there.
We're trying to develop that. We'd like to rotate a little bit, but we're just not there yet.
Go to Nick.
Lane, just with the game postponed for Saturday, what is the plan for this week now? And what have you heard from the league office about potential rescheduling or shuffling for the rest of the season?
It looks like we're not going to play. I guess there's still a small possibility somebody could be moved up, if they don't have an opponent. But, so we're still figuring that out, exactly how we'll do the schedule. But what we have figured out is, because of the COVID, we're going to keep them here through the weekend.
And do you plan on having a full week of practice, or are you going to kind of go back to the bye week schedule?
We're still looking at that, exactly what we'll do.
Go to Neal.
Wayne, I was just kind of curious when you found out that game was going to be postponed and what your sort of thoughts on it were.
They told us last week that that was probably going to happen, just because they weren't going to get guys back, with the 14 days contact tracing. So I really didn't think much of it because we were just focused on the game. So it is what it is.
With your team, I don't know whether you're comfortable saying this, but dating back to June, do you know how many players or what percentage of your roster has tested positive for COVID since they arrived in June?
I don't know that number, so I don't really want to guess. But I'll get it for you by next time that we get on here.
Thanks.
Go to John.
Lane, from week one, like that Florida game, all the way to now, how would you kind of assess your team's progress? How much better do you think you guys have gotten?
Well, a lot of the similarities in that game are still around. Very productive on offense, really good in the passing game. Elite quarterback and elite receiver. Really good tight end, and we run the ball at times well, and we don't play very well on defense. So, we're really kind of where we started off. We'd made some progress, I thought, lately on defense, but that was painful to watch. And I don't even see all the plays during the game because I'm over there with the offense sometimes. But 8.2 yards a carry. That's like little league stats, man. This is the SEC. That should never happen.
Go to Ben.
Yeah, Lane, you've coached a number of really talented receivers in your many stops on Amari Cooper and Marquise Lee. As far as a route runner, where does Elijah Moore really rank, do you think?
Elijah's quickness is different. Now, he's smaller than those guys, so smaller than Ridley, too. So we just never had anybody this quick because he's really a slot. All those guys really are more prototypical outside receivers. So this is a true slot. Like I said, he looks like this, the Carolina Steve Smith. His ability to get in and out of breaks. And watching the tape, he ran the ball so well. I think when someone drafts him, they've got to look at, utilizing him back there a few times a game too, because, that's very hard to prepare for. You got no idea what formation you'll be in, and all of a sudden, you got to match things up, and the guy's in the backfield. It's not like we're subbing him out for a running back so you know where he's at. The running back's still in the game, so that's very hard to deal with.
Go back to Parrish.
Lane, just to be clear, you said you do not expect the A&M game to be played. Is that right?
Yes. I do not expect that to happen, no.
Are you expecting to play LSU on the 5th, or are you hearing that game could be moved?
Well, I guess we'll know by 6 o'clock or something, but you guys know the rule. If someone else can't play, if their opponent can't play and we can play and they can play, then they can move it up. So I guess that's a possibility. We'll know more here soon.
Is there the possibility of you guys adding someone who's not on the schedule right now?
No, they would. I don't think there's any way the SEC, that was the whole thing, being able to control it, and not having non-conference. So I don't think they'd let that happen.
Well, like a Tennessee or somebody, if there was somebody not, well, I guess it'd be just a few that you might be able to do that with.
Yeah, I don't know that. That's more of a league office question.
Go back to David.
It's a good idea, though. You could be the commissioner.
Lane,
You could be the commissioner, Parrish. Would you have fined me?
I would not fine you, Lane. I would only fine you if you become suddenly this bland, I'm not gonna say anything, coach, and never give us anything to write about. That will get a fine.
Well, you'd be finding a lot of the conference coaches then.
Yeah.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, Lane, you get a lot of questions about Elijah Moore and who he's comparable to. But what
You
about
like
Matt
that one?
Corral?
You like that one, huh, Neal? I see you dying over there. If you could take out the one game somehow, and if we played better defense where we were winning, you'd be talking about the guy in the Heisman race. His numbers. I actually saw today he actually has more total yards per game than anybody in the conference, including Trask. So it's pretty impressive. And just a sophomore, and again, he made some plays that have some Mahomes type of arm angles in the game. Which is, we don't teach that. That's just very few humans can do that.
Go back to Nick.
Here's a good one for you, though, that I learned yesterday talking to his parents. It was actually the first time meeting them. And he played defensive end when he was young. So I can't really see that. But they said he was a defensive end, and I think that toughened him up.
Okay.
He didn't want to play quarterback, they said.
Lane, to go back to the defense for a second, what do you think can be done at this point in the season if you guys try to make changes? Do you talk about schematic changes or play calling changes, or is it just completely up to the players and coaches to work things out at this point?
No, we've talked about it already. You gotta look at everything. You gotta look at, do we do too much? Because it's not just guys like missing tackles. We weren't aligned at times. Which is really bad because that's a pretty easy team to line up to. They're in like I right and trading the tight end, like what we did 25 years ago. So that part was very discouraging. So we're looking at everything.
Back to Ben.
Yeah, to go back to Elijah Lane, and moving him to the backfield, is that something y'all wanted to do but really couldn't because of the lost spring and all that kind of stuff, or what brought that about, just getting the ball in the backfield?
Just the guy's so special, like I've always said, like, you got a great player in basketball, you keep throwing him the ball and letting him shoot, and so I've just always thought with receivers, guys are underused, we got Alabama and, I think the record was 70 catches or something with Julio Jones. Julio Jones only touched the ball 70 times. Let's think about that, so not being critical, I just always think that, hey, if you got a great running back, he gets the ball 25 times in a game. So find a way to get the guy the ball. And he's really smart. We actually, I was worried about, his mileage, in the game, having to play, all those spots that he did. So he actually didn't practice him Wednesday, actually, just to make sure he had enough legs to do all this stuff.
Neal, go ahead.
Back to Matt for a minute. This is his third offense, I guess, in 3 years since he got to Ole Miss. How much can he grow in an offseason? I know he still have some games left this year, but how much can he grow in an offseason in the same system, getting ready for next season when he's never really had that benefit before?
Well, that does, create a high ceiling for him, because, again, he didn't have spring with us either. So, first off, hopefully he comes back so we get a chance to do that. Because he would be draft eligible. So it's crazy to think he can get better.
John, go ahead. Sorry, Neal.
That's okay. You mentioned the spring. The NCAA's pushed the dead period back to April 15th, I think. We haven't talked to you since they did that. I was just kind of curious to get your reaction to it.
Again, we can't control it. It is what it is. Very difficult, very challenging. Again, like I said to you guys, you're running a company and you can't interview your employees, and see them face to face. So just trying to do the best we can.
Go John.
Lane, how do you kind of view this whole month stretch of, these last 4 weeks? Because, you have a game and then a bye, and then you have another one, and then another week off. Is it kind of to your advantage? Is it a disadvantage, with extra time off between these games?
No, I mean, when you're playing well, you want to keep playing, 2-game winning streak. So I wish we were playing, but, we'll just keep utilizing the time to find different things, just like what we did with Elijah, and see if we can get better.
And the last one for me was obviously took social media by storm, the clipboard toss. One, have you ever been that excited about a play, or when was the last time you were that excited about a play before it happened like that? And have you ever thrown the clipboard that high on that on a play before like that too?
Well, everyone keeps saying clipboard. That's kind of like really old, You don't have clipboards. I guess Gus does, but most of us don't have clipboards, kind of like the PE teacher in high school. So they're call sheets, and so I think I've never thrown, usually, I mean, it was done really, Michael Neusweiner does it, and, he put cardstock inside, so usually you can't throw them that far. But that thing really traveled. It was a little, harder than normal, so I've probably done that, but it's never gone into the stands, that's for sure. But I just get excited when, like I said, after the game, when plays work and, there's schematical plays, especially if you're audibling at the time, and you get them in a matchup that you're, audibling for a reason, and then the players make the plays. And I was nervous in that game, and so a lot of that's relief energy coming out, because we're not stopping them at all, which, if you can't stop the run, the games are scary. And so I did not like how that game was going in the third quarter, and then we hit those couple plays and opened it up. It was huge.
That was Lane Kiffin. It's always pretty entertaining. You have to just sort of.
I told you it's so dry that he's not. It's not a situation where he's in a press conference. He's just talking and he's answering and
he's bored with it.
He's bored,
and then sometimes he entertains himself.
Yeah,
and then
he wakes up every morning and goes, "This is press conference."
No,
today I get to go talk to the media.
I'm fairly sure those are the 10 minutes of the day that he has dreaded the most.
Somebody knocks on his door, is like, "Hey, coach."
Yeah, he's like,
"Time to go."
I'm getting paid to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Podcast brought to you in part by Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. Tyson Drugs, they're on the square in Holly Springs. G&M on South Lamar in Oxford, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area. Also offer MedSync to fill your prescriptions the same day every month to make it easy on you, whether it's delivery or pickup. Get everything you need when you need it. And with Right Way Meds, they individually package your medication, and that could save lives in the right situation to make sure that those most vulnerable get the medicine at the right times every day. So, again, you can find out more, 662-236-2222.
If games are played on Saturday, we'll have picks. They'll be brought to you by the College Corner. It's your one-stop Rebel Shop. 2 locations in the Jackson area. In Ridgeland, the College Corner is next to Fleet Feet, and in Flowood, it's next to Half Shell. If you don't live in Jackson, it's not a problem. You can visit College Corner at collegecornerstore.com. Plus, you can find them on Facebook and Instagram. Whether you're tailgating in Oxford or home gating with friends and family, the College Corner has you covered for game day. Largest selection of Rebel gear in Central Mississippi at collegecornerstore.com. We're also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. Founded in 1997, Pinnacle Trust provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much more. It's pintrust.com, PINNtrust.com. Tell them that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the podcast. You get 10% off your first year's fees. Also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. You've been thinking about getting out for a holiday trip. Maybe you're already planning something for next spring, next summer. Get in touch with John. He knows where all the deals are. There's great deals to be had right now because of the world that we're living in, and you can take advantage of it. Just give him some parameters, give him a budget. He'll give you options, and you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of services. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first book trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. Dustin Bridges asked me if I was laughing hard. I was laughing pretty hard. I just thought it was funny because Parrish's question was so long, and then he immediately turns it into something funny, and I was just laughing at it. And then when he said that about you'd be finding a lot of coaches, which is very true.
The follow-up would have been, like, who, Lane? Who would we be finding? Just curious.
Who would we be finding first?
Yeah. Just off the top of your head, really. What comes to
Well,
mind?
you know, that's where people say what's missing from
It's
the
that.
in-person stuff is
Yeah.
in person.
It's easier to do that.
You wouldn't have to do the virtual thing where you go, okay, raise my hand.
Yeah, you don't have time for the.
Yeah, there would be a
bon
little
mot,
bit
if
more
you
give and
will.
take where
Yeah,
you'd
yeah.
say, like, who do you think would get hit first? You know, and he would probably answer that. Those are the questions that he would love to answer. Probably I think the guy's funny because, and Chase will attest to this. I hate Monday press conferences because they're just dry, and we're talking about the game on Saturday, and we're really not writing about that game anymore. And it's a little early to be diving into because there's an easy out for, hey, can you tell us about Texas A&M or Tennessee or Florida, whoever. And the answer is, well, you know, we hadn't really gotten completely in on film on them, but boy, they're great. They're great. They're awesome. They're good everywhere. So-and-so's a great coach.
And if you're real in football coach mode, 22 really, really lights up the page. 9, 81,
Yeah.
47.
Yeah. And so it just stuff like that. And frankly, the last few years, and this isn't me picking on Matt at all, but even Hugh the last couple of years, those things were rough. And it's just so I find these to be amusing. That's all.
It gets worse as the tenure drags on. I don't think it would for Lane, but for most people, it drags on.
Yeah, he's
because early on, even Houston could at least play with you a little bit. If he would just on the right day.
Yeah,
it would get there. Ed would not. It was just football.
And the clipboard thing's funny because he's like, it's a call sheet. And then he admits that thing went flying. Yeah. The question I wanted to ask was, were you at all worried when you threw that in the air that it was going to land on the field?
Oh. I mean, because that would have been a problem.
It could have been a problem. If it hit
somebody was serious on Twitter Saturday night. It was mad at Lane because it could have hurt someone in the stands.
Oh, stop.
That's what we deal with now. Just constant. It's just
I mean,
bubble wrap everywhere.
So people ask me all the time, what do you think? I'm like, well, look, he's funny. He's clearly a good coach. The product on the field is fun to watch. Ole Miss has played 7 football games this year, and with the exception of one, they were all entertaining, and the one was Vanderbilt's fault. And then people, and listen, I'm not going to BS people. I mean, that's not who I am. He's good for business. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I'm not a little self-serving here. It's good for business.
Yes, Kenneth, the snapping problems have almost completely gone away. Ben Brown has been very good snapping football the last couple of weeks. He has corrected that.
He's gotten a lot better. And he would. You knew he would. It's a new thing, and he didn't have a spring. And he had a weird camp. And, they had offensive line. I don't know whether he was one of them or not, but they had, I'm told, like 10 days where the offensive line was essentially quarantined. That's the damnedest part of this offense, man. I mean, the damnedest part of this offense is that they had no spring. It's the third offense in 3 years for kids, so stuff's swimming. Then they had all the COVID stuff that disrupted practice. And they're doing 708 yards against an SEC team. Phew. And then, his answer to my second question about Corral was hard to believe he could get better, but.
And he can.
Look, he goes in the next season as a Heisman candidate. I'm not saying he's on the short list, whatever that is, but if you were to put together a list of 20 names for the Heisman Trophy for next year, Matt Corral's on it.
The season plays out as currently scheduled next season. They go into Atlanta and they beat Louisville 49-31, and when they get done, they go, hey, Matt Corral.
Sure.
Sure. 31 of 41 for 342, and
they're going to go get a playmaker or two out of the transfer market. That's coming.
Because if you're a playmaker, hey, I'll go do that.
Yeah.
Hey, turn Elijah Moore's film on.
Sure. They're going to go out and get a couple of elite receivers in the transfer market. That's my prediction.
They've got a good backfield.
And a tight end.
Yeah, he's always going to have a tight end. They'll go find
and they've got to figure out a way to get better offensive line. They've got to get better up front. because you pointed it out throughout the game on Saturday night. They got away with it, but they were not particularly good in the running game.
They were really getting beat early in series in the middle. As he said, you are center guard. They were really getting blown up there a little bit.
And then defensively, they've got to address it. You can't do this all year, because what happens if you have a couple of injuries on the offense? And all of a sudden, if going into the game every week, it's okay, we've got to get into the 40s to have a chance. Well, that's not a good plan. That's not going to last long term.
Well, that's impossible.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You've just got to get better on the defensive side. And I think it's players. But listen, that answer there at the end tells me it was a rough day in the meeting room.
Oh, he wasn't tickled.
Mm-mm.
Like I said, it wasn't just, they broke through those tackles and all shucks. That can't happen. We got to get better players.
Yeah, and the super laid back Lane Kiffin that you just saw, that dude I don't think is in the meeting room.
No, more intense.
Yeah.
I don't think he's yelling, but he's intense.
Right. Well, you can kind of lose people if all you're doing is yelling at them. We'll see. Hopefully we get to see another couple of games.
Yeah, I was looking at it here. Ben Brown graded out okay, but mostly because of pass blocking, not run blocking. Jeremy James graded out fantastic in pass blocking, but pretty average in run blocking, and the rest of the offensive line struggled pretty heartily in run blocking on Pro Football Focus grades on.
I'm not surprised.
On Saturday.
What were the defense grades?
Ooh, I hate to hit the button. Let's look. Corral, by the way, was at a 91.6. It's very hard to get higher than that, obviously.
Let me make this clear, because Kiffin wasn't comparing him to Mahomes, and I'm not either. But a few of those throws were Mahomes throws. And to Kiffin's credit, he says you can't coach that. He's exactly right. That kid has a special arm.
Let's see. Defense, 2 players graded out above 69. Any idea?
2 above 69?
83 and 80.
A.J. Finley?
Number 1, 83.
Yeah, he had a good game. I'm going to take a stab here, and I don't think I'm right, but he did make some plays and actually was fairly consistent at times. Ryder Anderson.
Tyler Knight.
Really?
Tyler Knight, 80. Ryder Anderson, 62.4, but he had a tackling issue. He graded out 40.9 in tackling. Keydron Smith, 33 in tackling.
He had a bad game.
Yeah, I mean, they missed.
I hate to say that about a college player, and Keydron's a really nice kid, but that was a bad game.
Defensive line, they just didn't get much. I mean, there's just nothing there.
Someone asked what Hal Northern's grade was.
Hal Northern, 34.4.
Yeah.
Yeah, 34.4. He had a 72.6 in tackling, but his defense and his rush defense was 30.2.
What was their best linebacker grade? I'm just curious. I can't even imagine how bad the linebacker grades were.
Lakia Henry, 69.4.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, that's actually a little above average. Average for Pro Football Focus is around 65-ish, something like that.
His problem is there's a step slow at times.
But they got a lot of snaps out of guys with pretty bad grades. Sam Williams, rough day.
Yeah.
Dalen Gill did not play overly well compared to where he's been. Ja'Cory Hawkins, Tisdale, Dean Leonard. Yeah, so it's a process.
What's that?
Yeah, offensively, nothing necessarily sticks out above.
Yeah, someone's asking about Corral going pro. Look, I can't sit here and tell you that he's absolutely not. But I'd be shocked.
Is this right? Do I have, unless I've missed something here? Are they calling it?
I don't know.
I guess they're calling it middle, even though he hit him. Matt Corral on Saturday, and again, I don't know why Pro Football Focus will be wrong here, so I'll say we'll go through this. I've got his passing chart up. They have him with 0 passes outside the hash marks on the right, or outside right.
Okay.
And only 3 passes outside left. Everything else in the middle of the field.
I mean,
that's interesting.
I have no reason
which
to
that makes
them.
sense for Elijah Moore because he's not going to be running a lot of outs and different things. But yeah, because they have him. Matt, here's a hell of a stat for you. Passes that had at least 20 air yards. on Saturday night.
Okay.
So Matt Corral doing most of the work through the air.
Mm-hmm.
5 of 5 for 254 and 2.
Ooh.
On 20-plus air yards. 10 to 20 air yards for Matt Corral. 7 of 8 for 110 and a score. So if Matt Corral threw the ball more than 10 yards down the field, he was 12 of 13 for 364 and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine.
Good God.
Hard to imagine how he could get better.
Carolina hardly blitzed him at all. They only blitzed him on 5 of his 35 dropbacks. So they did not bring a lot of extra pressure.
I did it yesterday, and of course I threw the sheet away because I was kind of doing it for thoughts. You throw his Arkansas game out, and Corral's numbers are incredible. Now, I know it doesn't work that way. The Arkansas game counts. But throw that one game just out the window. Give him a mulligan, golf term, and dude is lit the world on fire.
And when blitzed, he was 3 for 4 for 26 and a score.
Yeah.
Out of 5 dropbacks.
Well, the problem when you come
they got to him the
problem when you come after him is if you don't get him,
it's people running every day.
Well, and he's really good on the move.
Yeah.
Sees the field well now and can hurt you with his feet.
I want to look it up today because they allow you to do this in here, is his reads. They show you his numbers, first read, second read, that kind of thing. So I'm curious to go. I'll dig a little deeper later today and kind of see what that says.
That's where Kiffin helps him. I think Kiffin has helped him with reading defenses. Look, we're 1 year removed from the previous staff saying he just can't make decisions. He's such a bad decision maker.
Yeah, let's look at that. Let's see what J.C. Horn did. Somebody just mentioned J.C. Horn makes that believable. Coverage versus receiving. Just curious. Let's look. J.C. Horn, he was only thrown at 3 times on Saturday night. However, Ole Miss against J.C. Horn, 3 targets, 3 receptions, 15 yards, and a touchdown.
And they got a PI on him too.
Yeah,
on a questionable call.
So that's anything that counted in the books went positively for Ole Miss against J.C. Horn, but they hardly ever went his way. So
yeah,
3.
Well, you're
You're not gonna make a living there. So
you're playing with fire when you mess with him. He's an elite.
And that was
corner.
twice when Elijah Moore was on him. Elijah went for 2 catches, 2 yards, 12 yards, a first down, and then Dontario Drummond's touchdown was against him.
Elijah made so much money Saturday night.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch a lot of NFL. I watch a lot of NFL. If you're versatile, it changes the game. And now he's put on film that he can play out wide if necessary. He's dangerous as hell in the slot, and he can play some running back.
Players lined up against Elijah Moore in coverage on Saturday night graded out 28 to 47.
Yeah, I'm surprised anybody got a 47.
Yeah. Somebody got a 47. It was because they only threw at him once, but it was the 91-yard. This guy got popped for supposed to be guarding him on the 91-yard catch and touchdown, which I don't know whose fault that was, but.
Well, I've gone back and watched that play a few times and tried to not pay attention to the call sheet and just watch the play. He had Corral looked off to the right, and that safety drifted with him. And the other safety, it looked like they were playing sort of a two over.
Yeah.
And the other safety was kind of watching underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time
got distracted.
Got distracted. Yeah, his eyes got distracted with something else they were doing on this side. And this is terrible pod. I'm sorry.
Whatever.
To Matt's left side, the right side of the defense. He got caught up in some of the traffic and stuff there. And the safety on the left side to Matt's right side, the decoy side, he realized first, he had the first moment.
Yeah.
The other guy hardly noticed it until it was way too late. Like when Matt finally looked back, the call sheet was basically already up in the air.
Yeah.
By the time he threw the ball, the safety had cut. The safety that should have seen Elijah just never saw him.
Mm-hmm.
So he must have run one hell of a route. And
he sold everything to a flood side, and then
it was perfect. Yeah, because because they were running a kind of an underneath, and he was watching that, and Elijah just slipped by him. It was brilliant. I mean, you could tell it was a play they'd said, hey, if you get this look and he's lined up here, this is going to be open on the backside.
And you can,
I doubt if they thought it would be that.
and you
open.
can see Lane down the sidelines just going, "Please God, just catch the ball. Just please get anywhere near him. Just catch it." And then as soon as he catches it, is when the thing flies.
Yeah,
Like, all right, we can outrun this cat to the house,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. And
Yeah.
it's just. I mean,
It's funny.
Elijah Moore drops that ball, and Lane might have had a heart attack right there on the field, just falling over. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes those are hard to catch, the ones where you're wide open.
Or you have time to think about it.
Yeah, you're just like, all right, come down to me.
Not the Arizona Cardinals catch yesterday, which was unfreaking.
It's maybe the best Hail Mary catch I've ever seen.
He was completely covered.
They hit 4 dudes on him.
Yeah.
Sucks for Buffalo.
Oh, brutal.
Well, and hey, it made Brian Brown's thing right. I mean, the Dolphins back in that son of a gun. Dolphins 6-3 now.
Tell you,
3 straight.
Kyler Murray can play quarterback for my team if he wants to.
I still don't know that I believe in them all the way, but they're good.
He can come play quarterback for my franchise whenever he wants to. If I get one and
he's going to make Cliff Kingsbury a lot of money over the course of their career.
Yeah, he's got it in spades. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He's got it.
We'll do a lot of NFL tomorrow. We'll do the LSU stuff tomorrow. But I will tell you, the Saints news, Drew Brees with a fractured rib, some other rib issues, and a potential collapsed lung. So Brees questionable for sure on Saturday. They did not mention IR, which Schefter said probably means 3 weeks, I believe, is what I saw.
You get to have the Jameis Winston experience for a couple more weeks now.
I saw it for half a game.
I just think he's colorblind.
Dude, he's talented. He's athletic. He's got one hell of an arm.
Oh, he's got a rocket.
But even the other day, he was throwing it to the other team. They just didn't catch it.
Yeah.
No,
he's got a rocket of a right arm. I mean, you can see why people love him. But man, oh man.
I mean, good story, but I don't know. And now, look, Peyton will have a much better plan moving forward, knowing he's the dude going into Sunday.
Well, similar to what he did last year with Teddy Bridgewater, where the plan for Bridgewater just was better and better and better. And frankly, it was, I thought, Peyton's best coaching of the season. Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like.
Yeah, because I saw in our message boards people criticizing Peyton for going, hey, you didn't do this with Winston. It's a backup in the middle of the game.
This is the NFL. Yeah, the other team's good too. Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
His defense was playing well. We got a run game. Just let's get through this thing.
Yeah, all those guys wearing the uniform on the other team are professionals. You don't just make adjustments and pick them apart.
I had the early call stupid tweet because I tweeted early on when they were down 10-0 and it felt like they were down 34-0.
I saw your tweet.
Because it was rough.
You were having a fan moment. Were you
watching it all?
I was working on 10 Thoughts, and Jay and I were taping Greatest Pod in the South, and so I had it on, but I was not locked in.
At the end of the first quarter, the Saints had, I believe, 2 yards, had run 3 plays, and third through the second quarter, the Saints had 8 yards, the 49ers had 9 first downs. So, yeah, it was not going well at that moment.
Yeah.
But then the 49ers had a lot of dudes out. The Saints started controlling tempo, and they were the better team, and they won the game. So, nonetheless, again, as we said, it's
I was flipping around on NFL. I watched some of the Panthers. I actually watched some of the Giants and the Eagles, which was hard to watch.
Yeah,
I was just flipping.
The Giants winning that division would be hilarious.
Well, that's kind of what I'm hoping
that's
for.
That's kind of where we are with that, and we'll do division stuff tomorrow.
I'm cheering for like a 6-10 Giants winning the division because I think it would be funny.
They got to get on the stick to get to 6. I mean, it's
well, and I catch myself cheering for Jones a little bit because people attack him so hard. All he did was
got drafted.
Took the job when he got drafted.
Saying he's the Ed Orgeron of NFL quarterback.
A little bit. I mean, he could have said, "No, I'm not going to do it. I think I'm going to go sell insurance." But he said, "No, you know what? You're going to pay me how many million? Okay, I'll come do it." That's really all he's guilty of. What are the Saints, 7-2?
They're 7-2.
So they have a little margin for error.
Well, but as we mentioned that I've been messing up all year, 7 teams make the playoffs. Only 1 gets a bye.
Yeah.
So the 1 seed is.
They don't have a lot of bye error.
Well, now their schedule's soft though.
Which is good.
That's the one thing here. I mean, just again quickly as we're kind of closing. I mean, the Saints' schedule, and again we'll do standings tomorrow. The Vikings play the Bears tonight on Monday Night Football, so that will allow all the games to be played and all that kind of stuff. Here's the Saints' remaining schedule. They're 7-2 right now. Falcons, Broncos, Falcons, Eagles, Chiefs, Vikings, Panthers.
That's not bad.
I mean, they could go.
You could get 5 of those.
They could go 13-3, probably 12-4 for sure.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
And that might be enough.
12-4 would be more realistic than 13-3 because there's a couple in there that are tough.
Yeah, but winnable. I mean, Vikings. I know home is not necessarily home right now, but they're not gonna. They're gonna be favored in all games but one this season. The rest of the way. And I assume the Chiefs would be favored, but frankly, it's in New Orleans. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe not. And
Chiefs 8-1 right now.
The Chiefs might be at a point in the season where they're starting to protect.
I mean, big loss for the Ravens last night. Patriots beating the Ravens last night in Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of that.
Yeah, I didn't either, but the Patriots did win.
I hit the wall yesterday at about 5 o'clock.
Kind of gave it up.
Yeah, I'd been writing, and like I said, I did a podcast, and I think we podcasted 15 hours or something on Saturday, and so I hit the wall a little bit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I smoked some wings, and I may have poured something into a glass and enjoyed the cool weather.
Yeah. So
it was one of those clear nights where you could see stars and planets, and I'd go out and stare at the stars.
Yeah.
And
that's what it looks like from an island, too, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Same difference, really.
Probably not.
It's all good. Oh, Lord. All right, back tomorrow here with you. We'll talk LSU and their scandal from USA Today. We'll look at lines for the week. Hopefully no more games have been canceled to that point.
Before we go, I need to pay a couple of bills here. I want to remind you about the people at Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, that's the place to go. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. We're also sponsored by OUB, Oxford University Bank. If you have banking needs in Oxford, that's the place to go. Live Oxford, bankoxford.com, 662-234-6668. If you have some legal needs, I highly recommend Bain, Moss, and Bowen in downtown Corinth, 618 East Waldron Street, 662-287-1620. Also brought to you by Meadowbrook Wealth Advisors of Raymond James. It's a team in Jackson providing planning and investment guidance to clients across the state and surrounding areas. Financial advisors Bill Geary, Logan Phillips, Chris Carrero, and Ryan Geary are partners with Wings, not weed. Chris Carrero and Ryan Geary. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You got to do whatever you got to do. 601-368-2215. See if they might be a good fit for your financial goals. Raymond James and Associates, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC. We're also brought to you by The Rogue. They sponsor our pregame show. Hopefully we'll have another couple of those before things are all over. A bowl, too. I think Ole Miss is going to a bowl. That's all brought to you by The Rogue, 4450 I-55 North in Jackson, or at therogue.com.
Yeah, we'll. I think Ole Miss is a bowl team. The excitement, Kiffin, the whole deal. That feels like somebody's going to pick that up because, frankly, you can be 0-10 and go, so it doesn't really matter. They can scrap over the.
No, they're going to a bowl.
Somebody's going to go. Yeah, we'll do that. That sounds fun. We'll get Lane Kiffin for a week. We'll do that.
Well, ESPN's going to want him in a bowl game. As much as anything.
Yeah.
I mean, beyond the Liberty Bowl is going to want them, and so-and-so's going to want them. Beyond all that, ESPN's going to want them in a bowl game. They're entertaining. Look, ESPN has built years and years and years of getting from Christmas to New Year's with bowl games.
They got to get from Christmas to New Year's.
And so they want those bowl games.
Wouldn't even be shocked if they get a pretty high one. They end up playing like USC or somebody. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Where it's
I think we're going to get. I think we're going to see matchups. That's what I've kind of heard.
Let Lane
this.
go back to do the whole SoCal thing or something. Let's do that.
That's an astute observation on your part because that's kind of what I've heard too. Is this? Don't be surprised if this is the year that the TV goes to the conferences and goes, "Hey, let us kind of handle some of this and do some made-for-TV, almost like WWE type thing, storylines that you can market." So yeah, if you told me an Ole Miss USC sort of thing happened, I'd buy it. Sure.
Flexibility on all the bowls. Hey, let's let tie-ins be what they are this year, and let's play.
Yeah.
Let us do some stuff.
Yeah, find something that might work, a storyline that might work. And then geography will come into it, and obviously they're going to check with teams, hey, how much COVID issues have you had?
Can we get here? Can we not?
Yeah, I mean, because the last thing they want, God, can you imagine a bowl game having to get canceled 2 days before the bowl? Yeah, that's the stuff
that's nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, LSU stuff, the basketball bubble, and more. Plenty to talk about as the week goes on. But appreciate everybody in the live stream, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.